I just had cause to think of Jordan Peterson again, and now that I reflect on it, I think I do actually quite like this slippery old bird, Dr. Peterson. I think, yeah, he's a difficult bird to grasp. He's an oily little chicken in his own right. You know, there's the fucking hair tonic as well, isn't it? With this Peterson and this, you know, slapdash bravado persona that he has, and you know, he speaks down about the shouty leftist, bluehead neo-Marxists and postmodernist while being a postmodern neo-Marxist himself, and or not maybe a neo-Marxist, but certainly a postmodernist in his own philosophy and maps of meaning. Yeah, is he not, like, you know, a little bit squawky and shouty in his own right? I did once compare him, like, he's very bird-like, incredibly bird-like as Peterson. He's very much like a sort of wonderful ornamental bird you'd have in an emperor's botanical garden. That's how I like to think about him. I think he's a wonderful, like, sleek, elegant, preened, wonderfully preened fellow. Very, you know, turned out lovelily. Yeah, brilliant. A brilliant chap in his own right. And I think, like, in the rough cut of things, he is going after a certain vein of leftist politics that is very irritating to everyone. We hate shouty, bullying, nasty, ostracizing types who want to shut down debate, shut down freedom of expression, free inquiry, and so on. We all hate that. That's all horrible and objectionable and, you know, false. But really, he was going after the wrong targets. He should have been going after vegans and climate activists. And, you know, I don't think he ever really quite summoned up the courage in his heart to pursue those targets. And when it comes to, like, climate activists, vegans and so on, and climate change people and so on, I never hear one of them ever talk about the major solution to climate change, if it is a problem at all, which is, of course, hemp agriculture and cannabis farming. Since we could be farming enormous amounts of hemp, cannabis is the same thing for carbon sequestration reasons, to trap carbon from the atmosphere, turn it into plastics, turn it into building materials, turn it into whatever, then we've trapped the carbon forever. And we've got 2 billion hectares or so of degraded farmland worldwide, internationally, mostly in China. You could be using the hemp, the cannabis, to repair soil structure, encourage mycorrhizal networks, get rid of pathogenic bacteria in the soils, all these great things. And it can also fix nitrogen in the soils, which will cut down our dependence on nitrate fertilizers. No longer have to be spreading ammonium nitrate on fields. We're growing hemp and cannabis in rotations, hemp, i.e., to put nitrogen back into the soils. It misses this major point, and he's, you know, on the Joe Rogan podcast all the time. Joe Rogan is about one of the biggest cannabis legalization activists or advocates that's going in the United States, and it's just really a shame that there's not this crossover with their thinking. And you know what I think needs to happen on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast? I think there needs to be a project like Joe Rogan did with Elon Musk to get Dr. Peterson on some marijuana, right? I think this is what the Peterson needs, because he's a little bit, isn't he, Peterson? He's a little bit uptight, is he not? He's a little bit, I think, you know, a bit dusty, a bit fusty, a little bit too sharp and hard-nosed, and getting a little bit, you know, a bit like the dusty old professor, isn't he, in his later years, where really he should be a cool old man. And he was a cool younger man when he was in his younger middle age. Like, he was really quite a cool professor, was he not? You know, like, slick looking. Slick looking, great fashion sense. Now his fashion sense has got a bit weird with, like, this own suit that he's got that looks like the Maps of Meaning cover. It's all a bit odd. You know, he's eccentric, anyway, isn't he, Dr. Peterson? But I mean, you know, he should be, I think he should be gotten high with the marijuana stick and all this sort of thing. And that he should take a big old hit off of a marijuana cigarette, a joint cigarette, a cannabis joint, so called, or whatever, you know, the older people among us choose to refer to it as now. And do I think he's making mountains out of molehills? So, like, the thing is, I do sort of go back on that, maybe. Well, he actually was. When it comes to the whole trans rights movement and this like, yeah, things to get their own pronouns off the ground, I really think he was making mountains out of molehills when he was attacking Bill C-16 unnecessarily. He's like, that's not where you should have been focusing your energy. You were focusing your energy on the vegan climate change arguments and all that bullshit, and the puritanism of them, the callousness of them, the cultural insensitivity of that movement, its bizarre lack of focus on cannabis legalization, even though it's aping leftist hippie politics. I am a hippie. I'm the biggest advocate for cannabis legalization I'm aware of. That means I think I have a round and sound and very legitimate claim to, if nothing else, the hippie card. That is the one card I think I qualify for, most certainly. Hippie. I'm definitely a hippie, if nothing else. But Jesus Christ, there's so few of us left, particularly among the young. It's just kind of like a neoliberal, pseudo-leftist, oligarcho-fascist, authoritarian, nitpicking contest, ideological pissing contest. Who can be the best vegan, or who can be the best environmentalist, but being vegan. But veganism has no connection to environmentalism whatsoever. It directly sponsors deforestation. It's a load of utter tripe. Yeah, like, we need to bring back Dr. Peterson. Fuck it all. He's allowed to sell whatever amount of self-help he wants, in my opinion. He's entitled to his books. Maps of meaning. I guess everything does mean something. You know, even though I'm not really sure what a pencil means, other than something to write with. I guess it does mean something. But sand. What does sand on a beach mean? I suppose it means something that can get into your cock and cause irritation, isn't it? And like, it does mean something. I guess everything is something and everything does mean something. I was wrong. Fuck it. Well, it's something like, what does the work of Walt Whitman mean? Yeah. Does it mean something? What, something in particular? Or does it mean many things? I guess it all means something to someone, but it's a collection of poems, each of which has their own additional meaning. So it's a plural. You forgot to invoke a plural there in your... I'll wheedle at any corner of that philosophy that I can, because it's postmodern shit they'll get remembered for, I'm certain. Yes, in posterity there'll be Petersonians there lining up his book along with the greats. I'm quite sure of it. Glass of water. It means something to drink, something to quench your thirst. It does mean something, but really I think like what we speak of and we mostly think in terms of meaning as symbols and systems of symbols. So I mean, it's not really that the pencil means anything in particular, or it's not crafted with the intention of conveying meaning, but there is like an F on the pencil which does mean something. It means it's like a certain sort of pencil, and I don't know the system of classification and categories for the certain sort of pencil, but it is. So I guess that old Rooster Peterson strutting around the farmyard, clucking away. The farmyard of public intellectual discourse. All sorts of beasts and birds. Birds are beasts, I guess. All in the wild. All in the rootin' tootin' animal kingdom. I do like this Peterson. I've watched loads and loads of his content. I'm your number one, but I'm not gonna do that. Oh. Find him in a car crash and nurse him back to health. No, I'm not gonna go there with that. But out in the snow. No, anyway. Thank you for watching, everyone. I love you lots. Bye.